We've read about taplining, this cute word that you have coined. And seems this word pertains more to the kind of spiritual or religious or occult what would I say, some kind of invasion into your life. But the way I see it is that we are literally tap-lined from every angle in life. And this goes on a constant basis. Emotionally, mentally, through the educational system, in fact, even sexually, and in other insidious ways. So, can we call what I've enumerated as taplining too, Duane?
Can we call what, Charles?
Yeah, or what I've talked about being tap-lined emotionally, educationally, or mentally, even sexually, and otherwise. Can we consider this some kind of forms of tap-lining too?
Well, again, it's taplining is only in creation, and we are not in the business of taplining. That's not what the new presentation is about. And when I refer to it, just like you said, it sounds like the spiritual or the psychic or whatever you said in the beginning. Yeah, exactly. That's it. This is most people are in the business of taplining because they want others' attention, and in some way they want agreement and control over others. So we simply warn people about this. And yes, I kind of coined that phrase. I really did. I looked at it up on the internet when I was doing that, because I just saw it. It just came to me. I just saw it. It's like, okay, this is a good way to describe this with what's going on, these invisible connections that people have, just like in the movie The Matrix, where Neo starts to wake up and all these things are pulled from him. And it's just like that on especially the astral body and the other bodies from different sources unseen. And so no one had coined that. I was really amazed that no one had. David Icke and all these people and whatever. They never talk about it. You see, because they're very one-dimensional with whatever they're providing. That's it. It's just physical information, and most people get more tap-line because now they're all of a sudden they're aware and they start becoming afraid of, gee, there's reptilians everywhere. Well, now they get more tap-line. It doesn't resolve it, etc. And so big business, world, the world controllers, the business world, etc. Yeah, everybody's tap line by all these things, and so um, yeah, it's something that takes place in creation, and this is what's so cool about what we're presenting, because what we're presenting is about your real awareness, and there's no tap lining there. And eventually, yeah, you're going to have some tap lining. It's like, when you go to work out there and I work construction 40 years, and you get dirty, you come home and take a shower. Well, you can clean these things up from time to time, and it's okay to, it's like the old idea of bonding or whatever. If you have a relationship or something like that, those are agreements that are going on. So it's not that you're going to be rid of all these things. And especially relationships. We've all had relationships. We all do while we're here and for lifetimes, and went back and forth, uh, etc. So you've got a lot going on. But each person can learn to figure these things out in the personal sense. But fortunately, now you have the real knowledge to start to recognize your real awareness. So eventually you can step out of this personal self. But while you're here, do something wonderful and fun like we are. But yeah, so fortunately, it's only here. But the world, for the most part, is in the business of tap lining. Just most people don't know that. No, I find it, one of the things I found very interesting is that there's really no reference to how I define tap lining, but it's very real. But, all these psychic and spiritual paths and whatever, none of them talk about that. They don't talk about what's going on behind people's back, especially in their astral bodies, how they're being connected, because they want to keep it a secret so people don't know, so they stay controlled. We're basically the only ones telling people. Yeah.
Okay. And that is true. Everyone regards it as something as an occurrence which is normal. And when you look behind it, when you see behind the curtain, and then you can see the ramifications of what is going on. We've talked about agreements. Life is choice. Life is preference, personal decisions. You're the chooser. And at any time, you can decide um, to disagree with what you formally agreed to. So, Duane, excuse me, if we work on this premise that we are free at any moment to agree otherwise, to break any agreement that we have entered into because of the prevailing circumstances. Maybe some circumstances favored the taking of a certain decision, and then with the passage of time, you that decision no longer has the kind of favorable circumstances that can sustain it, and so you do away with it. And I reckon that this can even go into uh, all forms of agreement that people get into. I see people are bound in chains because of some agreements that they made in the past, and due to convention, to societal decorum, and all that, they think it would be immoral to undo what they did, to take another decision. So people find themselves in all kinds of tight corners with their agreements. And because of this kind of what I call calcified consciousness. But the person who is working with the new awareness may realize that certain decisions taken in the past under certain circumstances are no longer valid now. And so they have, whatever agreement has to be broken with whatever organization or whatever person or what, in fact, in many circumstances. Now, does this not make, if we want to follow this line of thought, would the person with the new awareness not be like an outlaw, a libertine? Because he lives in the moment, and he has the right to think otherwise, to do otherwise, to undo some of the things that he did in the past, some of the agreements, to break them and all the like. It is considered in society as being negative. So what do you say about this?
Well, you can give a generalization of that, Charles, but again, everything is choice, and every moment is new. I've made agreements in the past to do certain things, but then the moment changed, and I changed. I decided not to do it, etc. And I've had that done to me, etc. Made agreements, and so we all go through that because situations change moment by moment here, and you take the risk to do it or not. I had family ties as an example and agreements there, but this came first, so I saw that it could not be done in those situations, etc. So I left at the best of times, and several relationships like that, because they weren't working out. And I had made agreements, but then I left, and many things. And I have business ideas and projects and whatever, and the boys are the same way. I've seen them all of a sudden. One day they're this way, and the next day it's like, oh, we're not doing that anymore. Okay, so that's just how things go, because this is creation. And yeah, I know it's not easy at times. I know, but you can't really give a generalization to it. Each situation is its own. Each person takes the risk to decide whatever. And, when you bring in things like morals and right and wrong and stuff like that, well, you can bring those in. And that really just creates a lot of funny stuff and guilt and all these things. Well, if you want to deal with that, you bring it in. I understand. But, once you recognize why you're here overall, what makes sense? Does it make sense to keep living your life according to what you've always known, or your family, or what your parents said, or tradition, or any of these things? Does that make sense just because you were born in a particular country and they have a heritage and a tradition? Does that make sense to just go down with the ship, you might say? Because all of a sudden, let's say you were born in a country and everybody's Muslim, and you want to respect your family, but at the same time you want to get on with your life and be free of creation altogether. Does it make sense to keep agreeing to that situation? Well, again, it's choice. You have to be the risk taker, because again, this is why we're here. We come into this life and we have these identities and these body types and all these things. And again, we're thinking that this is the only reality there is. Well, it's not. It is a reality all its own. And if you want to stay with this reality, stay stuck here, well, you can. You just keep on going through more embodiments. So one lifetime, you're a Muslim. The next one, you're a Christian. The next one, you're an Indian somewhere at the tip of South America, whatever. I mean, each lifetime we take on these different identities that pertain only to the earth and creation, but now you have the opportunity for something else. So each situation is going to be whatever it is. But for me, as I discovered this always came first. And I would see what others are deciding. Well, I was married, had the daughter, etc. And my wife, my former wife, she decided her life, so we parted our ways, and it was fine. I talk to her once in a while, and the relationship is fine. Whether it's good or not, that's not the idea. She wanted her life a particular way. I wanted to do this. I wanted to present this, and if I would have stayed there, this wouldn't happen. We wouldn't be here. This world wouldn't see this. So I had to go out on my own and figure things out and go roundabout, you might say, and to where it came around to this. But I don't see that I could have done like what I'm doing now if I continued that relationship on. So, and that can be in the business world or whatever. So yes, every day it's a new day, and all of a sudden something changes. The stock market goes up and down, or there's an earthquake, or etc. Then things aren't the same, are they? So yeah, each one of us makes that choice, Charles. It's really moment by moment. And so again, just keeping it as simple as possible and making sense of it with the awareness you have does make sense.
Thank you, Duane.
Thank you, everybody. Yes, you're having fun. Yes, thank you, Kelsey, for doing what you're doing, and everybody else. Yes, step up. Those of you that want to have a little more fun with this, and create a group on Facebook, do a radio show with us, etc. Make something up. There's plenty of room. The world is waiting, so create your adventure here. Yes, thank you so much, Charles. We'll see you next Saturday. Boy, they come fast, don't they, these Saturdays?
Yeah, they do. They